Hello, I am a nerd, and what if I told you that there was an entire class of people in history who stood for both freedom and vandalism? The Bushrangers. You see, the Bushrangers were a dangerous faction of Australian outlaw who would use the bush as cover and rob people at gunpoint. One of my favourite bushrangers is MoonDine Joe. MoonDine Joe, or Joseph B. Johns, has all the energy of a shonen protag. And he is pretty dope. Basically, he was arrested in Britain for stealing cheese and stuff, and then sent down here to Australia, where he was arrested for a crime worse than any other: horse theft. That's right, back in the day, horse theft was one of the worst casual crimes you could commit. Didn't matter what the reason was, if you stole a horse, you were in for a heavy punishment. And MoonDine Joe in this situation, he stole some cheese, some bread, and a horse, and was sent to prison. Gets out, steals a horse. He is arrested again. But you know what he does? You know what makes him the shonen protag of the 1800s? He literally breaks out, steals the same horse from police custody, is on the run for 2 days, but in that time he took off the markings on the horse, anything that told the police who the owner was, and he got away with everything. Well, except for breaking out of prison. He only had to do a few months of breaking out of prison, but he was completely got away with horse theft. Which, is kind of crazy. That would be like if someone stole your car, broke out of prison, made the car disappear, and then was let go and charged for only breaking out of prison. So, MoonDine Joe, you probably realize he's pretty crafty at this point, but you don't know how crafty. He got to be so infamous for breaking out of prisons that he managed to earn himself a stay in a cast iron cell in Fremantle Prison. Click below to check out my videos about Fremantle Prison. Go back in my feed 1 or 2 days and you'll find them. Anywho, MoonDine Joe rotted away in that cell. He couldn't find a way to get out. This is a guy who's famous for climbing through limestone. And what he did was, the doctor said, this man is rotting away in his cell. He needs exercise. He needs physical labor. So the man who is famous for breaking through limestone, you know what they told him? Dig through this limestone quarry and give us the limestone to harvest to build houses and for building materials. And that goes about as well as you could imagine. You see, the limestone quarry piles up higher and higher as he digs his way further and further out of police custody. And the limestone is so high that they're not clearing it out. They're not clearing the limestone. And MoonDine Joe is digging deeper and deeper out of prison. So, no one clears away the limestone. He's obscured his path out of the prison. And he gets out. And I forgot to mention this, but the governor said, MoonDine Joe, if you can break out of this cell, I'll forgive you. And basically implying that he would give MoonDine Joe a pardon. And MoonDine Joe, he gets his pardon, and MoonDine Joe, he didn't get a pardon from the governor, who kind of went back on his word. But the funniest story is yet to come, because he breaks into a vineyard and gets drunk off his beep. And so he basically gets drunk, eats cheese, having a good night out at the local vineyard, even though he broke in. But police at the time were kind of getting a body out of the local river because someone had tragically drowned earlier that morning. But MoonDine Joe picked the worst night to break into a vineyard, because basically the police showed up at the vineyard, and even before that, they were only a few meters away from MoonDine Joe. And well, all it took was basically them showing up, he was plastered, they take him away. But the next governor says I should go fulfill my predecessor's word. He told Joe he could go free. Joseph B. Johns, if you don't commit a crime for 4 years while out in the wild, I'll give you a pardon. MoonDine Joe clashed with the authorities, but ultimately came out of it a free man. Very anti-authoritarian, and to this day, you can still see MoonDine Joe and his gravestone where it reads, "Freedom." By the way, if you liked this video and you are also a nerd, please consider subscribing. We are nerds.